Hey, what's going on, YouTube? Daniel here. Hope you're having a wonderful evening. I know I wish I had a better background, but you know, just I gotta just make do with what I got. You know what I mean? I don't have a lot of time in my hands, so when I do find myself having time, I usually have chores or errands I need to run as a new father. There's a lot that goes in with taking care of a child, of a baby, and so it's been a really incredible experience. But anyways, I just wanted to actually bring this guy in. I just got this in today from E-Knives. This is actually my birthday present. And so let's go ahead and open it up. It's going to be what you call like a new knife day. And literally is going to be like an unboxing and a first impression. So let's just get in there. Today I'm using this Chris Reeve small Sabenza 21 with that micarta inlays. Man, this knife is just the epitome of a perfect everyday carry knife. So with that being said, like I said, man, this is kind of hard to do on camera. So I'm going to kind of try to not cut myself, right? Get this situated. I think that's yeah. So in a couple of days is actually gonna be Blade Show 2022, and I've never actually gone to Blade Show, but I see a lot of my fellow knife enthusiasts posting up. Actually, knife enthusiasts and knife companies and knife makers are posting up that they're gonna be attending. So I'm always, I guess, I get a little envious around this time. Just because, man, like one day, I hope I get to, not hope, but I really want to check out Blade Show, out there in Atlanta, Georgia, I believe. So here it is, guys. Microtech. I'm just kidding. Microtech. Let me just go ahead and see anything else. Yeah, a bunch of stickers, E-Knives. Man, if you guys haven't checked these guys out, E-Knives, man, they're just a premier knife, online knife retailer. They have one of the best selection of Microtechs I've seen out there, and at a very competitive price. So that's their info. I actually got to talk, I believe it was with Clayton, the owner, and super nice guy. Just their customer service is just on point. And yeah, if you have any questions or you're just kind of curious, I'm pretty sure he'd be more than willing to take your call and just talk with you. Here's a sticker. Man, I haven't had these. I haven't seen these in like forever, like 20 years or so. Wow, thank you, Clayton. And of course, a little band-aid just for a little boo-boo, just in case. Because as you know, when you are a knife enthusiast, you're bound to get, nipped here and there. You know what I mean? Especially when you have something like a Microtech. So yeah, that's cool. I've actually had like an older version of the Microtech, so it was like in the older kind of that box design. I really like this newer box design. It's really cool. Really solid, nicely made. As you can see here, the Combat Troodon double edge Cerakote 10 standard 142-1 CTA. So that's that. 100% American made. That's cool. Never compromise. They've been around since 1994. That's sweet. So let's open this bad boy up. I've never owned a Combat Troodon. I've owned, let me see, the Dirac, not the Dirac Delta, but the Dirac. I've owned two Ultratechs, and I believe that's it. So here, wow, this is a nice little booklet here. Just welcome to the Microtech family, limited lifetime warranty. Just kind of gives you a lowdown on how to operate, their knives out the front, knife care, some cool little information how to care for your knife. This is a really nice, like, paper stock, thick, very nicely done. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen. And then there's nothing else. Oh, here, welcome to the Microtech family, so on and so forth. You can go and pause and read that if you'd like. Let me put the box aside because the star of the show is this bad boy. Caution sharp edge inspected by, looks like BC. Sweet. Thank you, BC. Let me just open this up. Oh man, I can already feel the heft of this bad boy. Oh shoot. Check that out. This is not just a run-of-the-mill Combat Troodon, right? This is Cerakote tan. Man, this is nice. It feels substantial in the hand, I'll tell you that. Wow. Very nicely, is it Cerakote or Cerakote? I don't know. I always want to say I think it's Cerakote, Cerakote. I don't know. Either way, very evenly applied. I don't see any funkiness happening. It's just very evenly done. The screws are even Cerakoted. Oh, check that out. Serial number 38606. Born on May 2022. That's my birthday. Sweet. Man, that makes this knife even extra special. You got that, man, that's glass breaker thingamajigger. And that deep carry pocket clip. You know, it says Microtech right there. And so let's fire this guy. See what happens. Wowzers. That fires very nicely. Check that out. Combat Troodon M390 USA. Wow, they even Cerakoted the blade. Interesting. I wonder how this is going to wear over time. I've never really had a Cerakoted blade before. I had like DLC, you know, coated blades. I had, you know, the typical stonewash, satin, polish, but never like Cerakoted. So let's see how it'll wear over time. It's interesting how they applied the Cerakote because they kind of left, you know, that center groove. You know, they left a little hint of that blade steel a little naked right there, as well as right here at the tang or at the foot of the blade. I don't know, tang or foot of the blade. I don't know, but yeah, cool. It really gives it a nice little contrast, you know. Kind of gives it a little bit of that kind of that flair, because as you can see, this knife is, holy smokes, I do not have the thumb strength to to retract the knife. Man, how sad is that? I know gonna have to, yeah, there you go. I'm gonna have to practice that a little bit. If you've owned Microtechs before, I'm pretty sure you're not gonna really have a problem, because you're gonna have like that Microtech thumb, really buff thumb. But I don't own a lot of OTFs, you know. But you know, two holes, man. Wow, this is, you know, comfortable in the hand. It does feel substantial in the hand, but doesn't feel like a you know, like an overly tank-like knife. You know, I holy moly, that is intense. I feel like, yeah, the kind of the thickness of the handle. Oh my God, it doesn't even compare. Just ignore the length for a second, but I feel like it compares fairly well with, maybe it's a little thicker than a small Sebenza 21. So I feel like this is gonna ride very slim, very flat against the body in the pocket, and then especially got this, you know, this deep carry pocket clips. It's gonna, you know, it's gonna sit very nicely in the pocket until you need it, right? And yeah, I love all the kind of little grooves and the jimping all over the place. But the great thing is it's not like, oh, it's not aggressive. It feels very nice. So you know it's there. It kind of indexes you. You know, it kind of does provide a grip, but it's not like, it doesn't like cut or bite into your skin. So it does feel very comfortable in the hand, even when I'm holding it like this. If I do ever need to use a glass breaker for whatever reason, you know, I've been alive for 36 years. I've never had to do it yet, but there's always a first time, right, guys? But yeah, look at that. It fills my hand very well. I have way more than enough real estate in the hand. So if I do need to use a glass breaker, my hand is, I feel like it is far enough away from whatever I'm trying to break. You know, so hopefully it doesn't cut me, but you know what I mean? But yeah, check that out. It just, I mean, look at all that real estate I have. I have medium-sized hands, and boom, as you can see, wow. You know, People kind of affectionately refer this knife as the John Wick knife. I believe it was in his second movie. And I could definitely see why someone like Mr. John Wick or the Boogeyman would carry something like this, because this blade is more than enough steel to get whatever needs to get done. You know what I mean? For me, what needs to get done is going to be cutting boxes like that. Oh, look at all those boxes, right? It's gonna be things like doing food prep, or if I take it out camping, right? People are gonna say, why the heck would you carry an OTF automatic knife out into the woods to camp? Hey man, if it has a sharpened edge, I could use it, for whatever, And this has two of them, so double the utility, I guess, right? I haven't cut with this yet. As you can see, I literally took it out of the box, but in my experience with the Dirac and the two Ultratechs that I've had, they've actually performed pretty well as a everyday carry. One of the things I really like about this blade profile, first of all, you get two sharpened edges, right? So you could literally use one side, and if it gets dull, just flip it right on over and then use the other side. Another thing I really like about this is just the center, just where the tip of the blade is just perfectly centered. If you literally kind of draw a line right down the middle of the knife, the blade is actually centered right. The tip of the blade is centered like right at the center line. And so what that does, and what actually makes it fairly easier versus if you're having like a traditional clip point or drop point or whatnot, is that you have that tip that's kind of at I would say a lower approach angle than like a traditional drop point or clip point. So you don't have to like really angle your wrist as much as you would with other kind of blade shapes, aside from, I'll say, a Warncliffe or sheep's foot, right? I say those two shapes are probably the most useful for everyday carry. And yeah, another thing you got to just keep in mind, and I know it may seem like, oh my god, my thumb is another thing that seems like common sense, but even sometimes I may forget, is make sure I don't rest my thumb on the back of the blade, right, to kind of give it more leverage or to power through tougher cuts, right? Because typically, for example, what I'll do with a traditional, blade shape where I have like a flat or crowned spine, is I could use my thumb and really just push through, leverage through, harder cuts, right? Like so, but you want to make sure you don't do that with something like this guy. I know it seems like super commonsensical, but there's been at least one occasion when I almost did this without even thinking, right? Because if you're cutting a bunch of boxes like this, you're sometimes, I'm kind of in a flow state, and what ends up happening is I mindlessly just do this, and then boom, before you know it, I'm going to have like 10 stitches on my thumb, right? And I won't even be able to use this thumb to actuate the trigger because it's going to be a mess. So with that being said, wow, I am really impressed with this bad boy. Really impressed. I believe this weighs close to 6 ounces. I want to say it's like 5 point something ounces. It does make its presence known in the hand, but it's not like, it doesn't feel like a thick boy. Like something like a ZT or something like that. There's just enough weight in your hand to let you know, hey, I'm here. I mean business, but not so much so where it feels like it's gonna like drag in your pocket. And like I said, because of that kind of that relatively slim profile, and just a slim profile overall, I'm sure it's gonna sit very well in the pocket until I'm ready to use it. But man, boy, this thing is super sick, super sick. All right, So that's my first impressions. I could literally, I mean, they've really did a great job. Just the way they manufactured, crafted this knife, and then they Cerakoted it. It's just really consistently applied. I don't see any splotches or anything like that. You can see on the trigger some oil. Yeah, trigger, just some oil in the track, but that's about it. Look at that. That X. Man, that's such a cool like little creative way to really provide grip for your thumb. Woo! I'm gonna have to work out my thumb a little bit. But you know what? It's fairly for someone that doesn't carry an OTF on a regular basis. As you can see, I could you know actuate it fairly consistently. But yeah, man, boy, oh boy, this thing is sick. Anyways, that's my first impressions unboxing. Feel free to leave any comments or any questions. If you have one of these guys, maybe an older version of it, or you have any other of their other models that are Cerakoted, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on how they've worn out over time. Does it flake off? Does it just kind of is it similar to like how DLC gets worn out over time? But yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts. But with that being said, thanks so much for watching. And if you like my videos, man, go ahead and subscribe. And I'll see you later.